All right, aloha, Tulsi-crats, free radicals, and those of you who are just curious as to what this is the Radical Independent, and I am Dave, and I am not the only one. As John Lennon said in a song, I may be a dreamer of going third party or finding a way around the establishment, but I am not the only one. And you'll find people in every political phase, every political denomination, looking for a way around this two-party disaster. All right, and people have to say it. People have to understand that you cannot have a revolution in a counter-revolutionary party. Jill Stein said that. Now, and I say it in a lot of my videos because I think it's a brilliant quote and it underscores what we're going through. Tulsi Gabbard, for all you Tulsi fans, and I know I have a lot of folks that support the channel that love Tulsi as I do. Tulsi has vowed to continue. She's hinted around at maybe doing some type of a town hall style event. I'd love it to be on at the exact same time that the DNC has their coronation party for Elizabeth Warren. Look, and that's what it is. And by the way, you Bernie fans, hang in there. This is coming at you guys. I know you think, hey, Bernie's in second place. Biden is falling apart, which he is. But who is the media going to prop up? They're not going to prop Bernie up through this. They've been looking for a workaround on Bernie Sanders since he announced. And right now it's Elizabeth Warren. If you turn on TYT, Elizabeth Warren is the perfect candidate. I mean, she is just enough in the realm of Trump derangement syndrome, daily Trump derangement syndrome. And by the way, I'm not saying Donald Trump isn't a bit deranged himself, but that's why his supporters like him, because he is a little off kilter. Actually, he's a lot off kilter, but there's a certain appeal to that crazy guy, crazy like a fox type attitude that people just believe that that's what he's about. I just see him as, like the P.T. Barnum of today, and he's into the show. And does he do policy? Yeah, he does policy, and some of his people who support him like his policy. I've had people that say, hey, if Tulsi doesn't get in, or a true progressive doesn't get in, I'm going to go back and vote for Donald Trump. And I'm just like, what? But here's their rationale, is that a corporatist Democrat will have a blank check when it comes to the war machine. They will, because everyone will say, well, hey, we've got Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren. We know they're going to be much more responsible with the nuclear football. They're going to be much more responsible when it comes to sanctions and negotiations and diplomacy. And while they're, doing the head fake this way, troops will be on the ground in places that we probably can't even imagine, because this is what Democrats do. Hillary Clinton would have done that. Barack Obama did do that. He kept George W. Bush's wars in place, pretended to draw down, didn't really draw down, and then expanded in at least 2 other theaters. And, you've got to actually go on like antiwar.com and understand how involved we are in things that aren't reported on a daily basis. So when a candidate comes along like Tulsi Gabbard and she says peace, I go, yes, sign me up. You had me at peace. Tell me about Medicare for all, but please, you had me at peace. Why am I considering the Green Party? Because right at the top, no more interventionist war. And that is a big deal for me. I know for a lot of people, they go, well, what about the economy? Sure. All of this stuff is going to flow back down into our economy, and it's definitely going to save us a ton of money for all you fiscal conservatives out there. And you may say, well, you progressive types, you just want to spend all the money that we're going to save. Yeah, and here's where the money's going to go. Education, healthcare, the environment. Those are things that affect people on a daily basis. What doesn't affect people is if we build a new weapon that's going to destroy a country thousands of miles away from us. That doesn't affect me. You know who that affects? Military contractors. And yes, if you work for a military contractor or you're, a subsidiary of a contractor, you're not going to want to vote for a Green Party candidate or a Tulsi Gabbard. And yes, I understand the power that these people have. That's why politics, the way we know it, the way we practice it, that's why we need campaign finance reform. Politics, the way we know it and practice it, needs to immediately change. So, regular citizens, Mike Gravel hinted at this. He has this idea of like a citizen legislature. These are just people that all get together and kind of decide what they want, like true democracy, rather than somebody who gets lobbied at from every conceivable angle, gets wined and dined, gets told if you do X, then your life will be great. If you don't do X, we're going to make your life miserable. And by the way, at the end of your tenure in Congress, you're going to get to have a nice cushy job with this pharmaceutical company if you continue to prop up the same stupid healthcare system that we have now. It's quite simple. Somebody told me the other day that there's a car out there that runs on compressed air. And it's true. I looked it up. There is a vehicle, I believe it was developed in France, that will run on compressed air. And I think it costs like $2 for the compressed air. And the technology is there. And are the car companies here in the United States developing a car that will do that? Nope. No, I don't know if they have a patent or what the deal is. I don't know how the patent system works over there. The bottom line is we could solve this climate problem, this emissions problem. We could solve it overnight. And I know the combustion engine is much cleaner than, and then people are telling me, well, solar panels, you make solar panels and you have to make them out of glass and you have to make them out of this and that. And you're not as green as you think when you're doing that. Look, we have to start moving in that direction. I'd love to have a good debate. And all you free marketer people out there, free marketeers, you're welcome in on this debate too, because I'm sure there's some profits to be made, but not obscene profits that keep people and the planet really in prison. That's what's happening now, is that, you've got a Category 5 hurricane sitting over the Bahamas for days and days, and people think, okay, that's normal. We have hurricanes. And, I understand we have better record keeping and better imagery and all that stuff now, but it does raise some eyebrows and some questions that this island basically just got wiped out. And is it because these things are getting worse? These are questions we can certainly ask. And if our government officials aren't willing to do anything about it, then we have to do something about it. That means we have to overhaul the entire political system. Tulsi Gabbard right now is a victim of the political system, which basically anoints candidates. And they couldn't do anything to stop Trump. That was a very interesting moment in our history, that Trump came out of nowhere and just walked right by everybody and got to the nomination, and then somehow just knew what states to go to, and it was all very well orchestrated, and I would even go as far to say is brilliant, but he did it within the two-party paradigm. The thing about Trump is, though, he kind of acquiesced on a lot of things that he was talking much more, vociferously during the campaign. Now he's just a puppet. And then not only that, you've got the daily tweets and all the things that people are upset about, the way he interacts with other human beings. It's really not, that's the part I don't like. It's not really acceptable to be the president of the United States and just act like a buffoon all day long. And that's what he's doing. And the people that are defending it, they come from really weird places. Like conservative Christians are all defending Donald Trump's language and his behavior. Conservative Christians were the ones that were looking past all that Billy Bush stuff at the beginning of the campaign, going, wow, just a few years ago when these people had some sort of moral compass, they would have said, you know what, that's we need somebody in the White House, in addition to a policymaker and a deal maker, we need somebody in there who also can be a good role model for not just the young people of this country, but even the adults who are thinking to themselves, wow, I can be this type of person and still be the president of the United States. It was a wake-up call for me. At the beginning, I was with all those people, those deplorables. I don't care. I just want change. We've got to be careful because we may elect somebody who's a real scoundrel who will do all kinds of damage to the country, and a lot of people think that's what Trump is. I don't know. I think we can certainly recover from this. We can have somebody who's into decorum, who's into just being polite and diplomatic, like a Tulsi Gabbard. That's why she's so attractive as a candidate. Bernie at times, he's a bit rough around the edges, and that's a big problem he's going to have. But I'll worry about that if he can somehow get the nomination. If Bernie doesn't get the Democratic Party nomination, then you really need to come with me. And we need to start talking about the Green Party and other parties. But I would say the Greens first because they have the infrastructure. And I say you infiltrate it with people who are working class, who are economic populists, who aren't going to just drink latte and drive the Toyota Prius around. You need somebody, you need people rather who are just your average Joes. And this is the difference. A lot of people who grew up being average Joes were like in the Democratic Party. All right, and average Janes. I'm not trying to be sexist here. I'm just trying to throw easily understood, analogous terms out there. So this video is really just another call to action that at the end of this, all of this back and forth, kind of like I want to get clicks and views. Sure, I want people to watch my videos. But what's going to happen is people who want the red meat of just, hey, the DNC screwed Tulsi Gabbard, which they did, eventually, I don't have much else to say to you folks. There's not much else I can say because we knew this was coming, and now we have to prepare for what's next. And if we're all just going to sit around and go, well, it stinks that the Democrats did this, and that's not enough anymore. That's not enough. I mean, go register to vote as a Green Party person, or go get involved locally in your community as an independent progressive type person. Those are the things that we need to start doing, and we need to be able to explain the ideology where it doesn't pit socialism versus capitalism. You could say, yes, the free market will still exist, but there are going to be new controls to protect the average person, the average worker. That's all you need to say. So that's my video on this topic, and I hope that people will get involved. And as far as Tulsi goes, I'll just keep going. We'll support her until the end, and I'm not sure where that end is going to be, but unfortunately I think it's going to come soon, fairly soon. I'm hoping she can just defy logic and go around everybody. But we've got a long way to go to see if that's going to happen. All right. See you soon, everybody.